Hello and welcome to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and we're finally all ready to go and we have our setup good. I'm going to give you a quick little montage of all of the shenanigans that happened and the bad intros that took place. Check it out. Oh. What is that? Okay, autofocus. Look at me. Thank you. Okay, autofocus is working. ZZ is blocking the camera. Traditional, everything is going terribly wrong for the JW Thoughts channel. The types of things like this will be included. God, that was awful. Fucking hell. Well, if you'd like more content like that and see what's going on behind the scenes of the JW Thoughts channel, I have a lot more of that, and to all of my patrons, they will get a exclusive behind the scenes video every month of all of the shenanigans. Now, that was just a studio session, so you can imagine when I'm dressing up like a bear and a prophet and God and Satan all for one video. We have a whole pandemonium of random outtakes and bloopers, and I think things that are quite enjoyable and funny to those that like the channel. Anyway, I mentioned Patreon. If you have it within your means, please continue to support the channel. Help it grow. Very, 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 very much appreciated. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Apparently, like half of the people, like 60-something%, actually aren't subscribed that watch the videos. So anyway, if you're one of those 60%, click the little subscribe button, hit the bell, all of that good stuff. Now, to the topic at hand, we're talking about holidays. Holidays are very interesting, and I know I've talked about it. I think it was actually my very first video ever released, but this time I want to talk about Thanksgiving because it is tomorrow, and a little bit of that and my own personal stories, but then just why does the governing body, do the heads of the Watchtower, think that it's a good idea to go down the particular route they do when it comes to why they don't celebrate holidays? Hollandaise?
The secret behind a great Eggs Benedict is in the Hollandaise.
Why they don't eat Eggs Benedict and they don't eat Hollandaise sauce. Finger guns intro. Let's do this thing. ZZ, help me. Help me, please. All right, so holidays, a word to the uninitiated. Jehovah's Witnesses in general, they don't celebrate holidays because they have this idea that anything with a pagan origin is going to be inherently, sorry, ZZ's tail's hitting my keyboard, is going to be inherently false worship, essentially. So you're going to participate in worshiping of demons and Satan and all of this good stuff. So most of us know the story, but every sort of holiday, if you really stretch it, you can find an origin that is of a pagan religion. Okay? Now, the funny part of that to me is everything has a pagan origin. And what I mean by that is our ancestors, our great.
I don't believe you're really my great aunt. You're more like my great.
All right. Are you through?
Great aunt.
Great grandparents, they did not understand the world in the way that we do. So, there's an earthquake. Lightning strikes. They see fire. There is a full moon. There is a lunar eclipse. There's a solar eclipse. They have a particularly good harvest. They have a particularly bad harvest. Every one of these things, they associated with some form of God or deity. So they would, see lightning strike and they think the gods must be angry. Oh no, what have we done to upset the gods? So they associated every natural phenomenon with a god being involved in it some way, somehow. So let's think about every single thing that our ancestors did. No matter what it is, you will find a pagan origin to it because they didn't know any better. They literally didn't know any better. And it wasn't until they developed through science, reason, logic, and testing that, oh my goodness, we have answers for these things. And yet the Watchtower seems to think, well, these things have a pagan origin. I'm sorry, but you are being just immediately hypocritical by saying we can't do Thanksgiving because it has a pagan origin. We can't do birthdays, a pagan origin. So, just for reference, the Bible doesn't say anything about it, right? Because, Thanksgiving and Christmas and these things, they were not even developed when the Bible was initially written. So they can't use the Bible as their answer to the question of, well, why don't you guys, celebrate these things? So they have to basically take scriptures and say, well, what it really means is this, and this is this principle. But honestly, come on. Like, I know the most common one is wedding rings. They have a pagan origin. Anything, like I said before, our ancestors didn't understand the world, so they associated everything with a god. And most things that we have. And I was trying to think of a way that you could sort of illustrate this. And I guess imagine a hypothetical world where the inventor of the automobile was someone that was a worshiper of, I don't know, Ahriman. just pick any random old deity so we'll just do that. So the inventor of the automobile was a worshiper of Ahriman. And because of that, they had symbols. And the symbol that goes on the front of vehicles, it's actually indicative of the car manufacturer's interest in promoting their particular religious belief. Would you not drive a car? Would you say, okay, well, I can't drive any cars. Well, I can't drive any I can't drive a car from that car manufacturer, but I can from this one. But the origin of the car, the meaning of the car, that goes back to pagan tradition. And I say that because anyone that's watching this, if you've been a Jehovah's Witness, you have 100% met the person that says, well, you shouldn't get together with your family on Thanksgiving. Just get together with them on a different day. Just don't eat turkey. You can eat ham. You can eat ham and biscuits, but no turkey and mashed potatoes, no eggnog for you, amigo. And the stance is bizarre. It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't stand up to the fact that they do things all the time that have pagan, I hate quotes, but
I don't look comfortable on camera. I'm not savvy.
Pagan origins. They do this all the time, and it really begs the question of why. Why do the Jehovah's Witnesses hate holidays so much? Why do why does the Watchtower insist on making up these artificial rules? And I'm going to get into that later, but let me hit you with a couple stories of when I was a witness and of how time sort of transformed my idea of Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving, obviously, no one's working, no one's doing anything, blah, blah, blah. So for me, Thanksgiving, if it was a meeting night, they still have their meetings. And I promise you, if there is a meeting on Thanksgiving, it might be one of the least attended meetings ever. And I used to be one of those judgmental people, that would show up, and we had a congregation of 150 people and 65 would be there. So you'd have 65 people in attendance. Most people were canceling their talks, and it was like a weird pride badge. Like, I don't know if you could hand out, if Jehovah's Witnesses were Boy Scouts, that would be a merit badge. I went out in service on Christmas. I attended meeting on Thanksgiving. Like, that would literally be a merit badge for them. But I was one of those kids, and I would have worn my merit badge proudly. So as time went on, I remember me and my friend, we went on a bike ride, and we rode from our houses into downtown Seattle. And we just went on a ramble, and we were trying to find restaurants that were open and da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, so we were down there, and I remembered that it was a meeting night, and I forgot that I was going to do a demonstration, I think, for a Watchtower and Awake presentation. And with the dumbest things ever, right? Hi, we're Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on your door. We're just coming to talking about this particular subject. What do you think about world hunger? You could do it off the top of your head. Hopefully anyone in the audience would be able to do that off the top of their head. But I remembered I had that, and it was getting late. And so I was like telling my friend, I think we need to go. He's like, just call the person and tell them you're not going to make it. Like, whatever. And I was turbo tempted. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. It's really blah. So I called him and I told him, hey, I don't think I'm going to make it, but maybe there's a chance. So we started riding our bikes back, and I eventually did get back in time and was able to make it to the meeting. And I did do the demonstration. He was like, oh man, you really saved my bacon, which it's like, those presentations are so dumb. I mean, just look at the little sanitized ones that they have now with the silhouette figures. But anyway, so that was the first time I actively thought about, like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't want to go to meeting on Thanksgiving. It's a holiday. I'm hanging out with my friend. We went on a nice bike ride. It's been a great day. And that was a moment where this meeting, this responsibility of being a Jehovah's Witness became a burden. I was like, God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to. And that was probably a big point in like the journey of my awakening, right? So then later on, I was getting more of the opinion of, well, I make every single meeting. My attendance is probably, if I'm not sick or in the hospital or out of town, I'm at the meeting. I'm there early, I'm commenting, I'm giving my parts, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm covering for other people. And I basically took that as, you know what? I think this gives me license to take a couple meetings off per year. Because if everyone else's percentage for being at meetings was 75%, which, hey, that's pretty good. Considering how many meetings we were doing, because that was when book study and everything is still a thing. Anyway, I basically said, you know what? I can miss a few meetings. If I make, 150 meetings a year, I'm sure that I can take off 5 of those. Like, what's the big deal? If the average is like, or a good person is 75%, what's the big deal? So I basically sort of said, yeah, holidays, meetings, not really my thing. So my family, who is, it's complicated, but they are believing witnesses, but not active witnesses. I don't know if that sentence necessarily makes sense, but a good portion of my family, they believe that, Jehovah is God and that Armageddon and the 1914 and all of that stuff. They believe that, but they're not active. They're baptized, but they go to like memorials and some conventions, maybe. And that's pretty much about it, right? And they, every year, would have their Thanksgiving dinner. But they never invited me. Never, 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 never. Now, after I started fading, they magically invited me. They said, "Hey, Wally, do you want to come to our thing?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll come." And it was my first Thanksgiving, essentially, with family. And, or I should say my biological family. And it was so lovely. We cooked food, we hung out, we played video games, we watched football, we drank wine, we had some eggnog, we made a fire, we chopped the wood. Like, it was just nice. It was chill. It was a good time. And the thought of being a fully indoctrinated witness just, it aggravated me. Like, why was I so binary in my thinking that I could just be like, no, well, the Watchtower says that I shouldn't have fun with my family, so I'm not going to. And that's like a cherished memory that I get to carry around with me now. I get to actively remember those times when those family members, before I became a full-on apostate, would still talk to me and interact with me. And I enjoyed it. Like, it was fun. And it's so crazy that witnesses can sit there with their righteous little supercilious noses just thinking to themselves how much better they are because they're not doing anything related to Thanksgiving. All right, so let's take a step back and think about what is Watchtower's endgame here. Because I don't imagine that they can readily deflect the obvious hypocrisies with the notion of Well, it has pagan origins, because everything has pagan origins. And like with Thanksgiving, well, ancient people had harvest festivals. Yeah, God in the Bible literally commanded the Israelites to have a harvest festival. The God you worship commanded people to have a harvest festival. Like, what are we talking about? Honestly. So I can't imagine that someone that's writing these articles is ignorant of that fact and is not aware of it. So I try and think, okay, well, what could really be going on here? What is the goal of having these ridiculous, silly teachings? Like, there must be some sort of rationale to it. And the only thing I could really come up with, well, maybe two things, is deprive people of happiness. Any way that they being the governing body, Watchtower, writing committee, whoever you want to call them, they don't want people to feel any sort of gratification, happiness, dopamine surge outside of their constructed world. So a Jehovah's Witness is supposed to feel elated after they have a good return visit or they start a Bible study. Yet if they're watching a worldly movie, wow, 2 air quotes in one video, you guys are lucky. If they're watching a worldly movie, they're supposed to be sitting there, stressed out thinking, oh man, are they going to say a swear word? Are they going to show a sex scene? And it's meant to be stressful, right? Barely enjoyable. Music, books, it doesn't really matter. And that to me says they don't want people to have any enjoyment unless it's coming directly from Watchtower. They want their joy to be their ministry and their service to Watchtower. They want people to find their true joy, their true happiness when they're working for free, when they're building a kingdom hall. That's where your real joy comes from. It doesn't come from getting together with your family and eating some turkey. Nope, that's not real joy. It only comes from building kingdom halls and going out in service. The other thing is, second aspect of this is they have a obsession that manifests itself in very unique ways. And that obsession is trying to be separate from the world. So they have this concept of, we are no part of this world. We're in this world, but we're no part of this world. And Jesus' prayer, don't take them out of this world, but help them and protect them as they're in this world, right? So they need to find ways in order to separate themselves. So, what you wear, what you listen to, what movies you watch, what you do in your free time, what you do for recreation, all of these things separate witnesses. So they feel different. Everyone in the world is getting together with their family, or in America, but getting together with their family. I live in America. Sorry, I'm an ignorant American. What can you say? But they're getting together with their family and they're having a good time. Well, we don't do that. Well, we're better than that. We have true knowledge. And that is a very powerful mindset that the Watchtower implements in people, and that if you are different, you are right. So, well, they vote, but I don't vote, therefore I'm right. Other people, have sex outside of marriage, but I don't, therefore I'm right. Other people get drunk, I get drunk too, but I just don't admit to it, and therefore I'm right. The Bible says nothing about smoking weed or taking edibles of any kind, but I don't do that, and therefore I'm right. So they create these artificial lines, which they haven't thought about. And the Bible has nothing to say about it at all. And like, what is the Bible going to say about Christmas or Thanksgiving or weed, right? Now, it does have something to say about drunkenness and gluttony, so maybe I can just, we'll put the drunken one to side. But the gluttony one, that's a great example. You look at Tony Morris, and I mean, that guy's got to be pushing what, like 250, 260, 270, 280 pounds? He doesn't look like a healthy man. He seems like he likes food and maybe his whiskey a little bit more than he likes taking care of his body, right? So you have these men that create these artificial lines. I know I use that phrase all the time, but they basically say, no, we're right because we don't do Thanksgiving. And yet, the reason for everything, they claim the reason for everything that they do is because it's based on Bible principles. Yet there's a Bible principle about gluttony. And that is something that they just say, well, I mean, it's really the love of food. But it really means this. Oh, holy, it's just a mess. Anyway, one other point I want to make before I end this rant, and I'll try and make it quick, is I do find it fascinating how the Watchtower, and just thinking and talking about this whole subject made me think of it, but I find it fascinating that they have these misguided ideas and principles that they're trying to live by. So they want to focus their attention and their research and their lives and their future around these principles that they come up with. So the principle of holidays is, as we said at the very beginning, well, they have pagan origins. So they want to focus on what an ancient person that thought that a god was throwing thunder down. And they want to focus their attention on that. But they don't want to focus their attention on child safeguarding, equal rights. Do I need to even say any more? Domestic violence, mental health. They don't want to focus on these fundamental moral issues that they need to address. They absolutely need to address these. And yet they are spending their time writing articles saying, well, you shouldn't do Thanksgiving because it has pagan origins and a harvest festival. Have you read Leviticus? What is it? Leviticus 23? 16 or something? Where God literally tells them that they are to have a harvest festival. So they go outside of the Bible. They go outside of their own doctrine in a way, just to make up these rules to keep separate from the world. Now, I don't use this word often, but if that's not cult-like, then I don't know what is. Honestly, what are you doing? You are literally just setting yourself up to be a classic cult. We are going to sequester you from the world. You need to be different. You need to think different. You need to act different. You need to talk different. And all for what? Well, because the Bible says so. Okay, well, what does the Bible say about gluttony, you fat fuck? Tony Morris, what is he going to say to that? Well, if he has something to say, maybe you can check out the channel. Tony Morris, please respond to me. But you know what? I'll just cosplay you in another video and everyone will be happier for it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a Wild Wally rant. ZZ, I know my rants, they always put him to sleep, but maybe you guys fall asleep to these too, and I'm just in the background as you're nodding off, and my deep, sultry voice is just giving you delicious dreams of finger guns and cats. I know that sounds really, really, really weird. Oh, I have a lot of mental issues. I need help. Help me, please, for the love of God. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Don't forget, I do have a Patreon, so if you do want to support the channel, you can do so that way. There should be a link below. If not in this video, definitely the next, on how you could do PayPal as well if you just want to make a one-time donation. Don't forget, if you do want to do a $100 donation, I can walk you through and you can be in one of my upcoming skits. We can work together on it, or I can write it and just send it to you and kind of give you some instructions, and then you can give me the footage and I'll edit it and make it look all pretty and cool. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and maybe we'll do a wicked stunt.